Hello photography friends, welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be attempting to do our first review on this channel, and that review will be of the Canon RF 100 to 400 lens. We're also going to be showing some of the photos that I've taken with this lens, as well as comparing it to my newer, pricier lens, the Canon RF 100 to 500 lens. Do you really need this expensive lens? Or could you get by with a cheaper option, like the Canon RF 100 to 400? Well, in this video, we're going to take a look and compare both of them. We're also going to be discussing, were the Tori episodes of Saved by the Bell taking place in a different universe than our own?
Speaking of the multiverse.
Excuse me? Who are you again?
I'm you, boy.
You're me. From a different universe.
Yes, I just said that. Obviously, I'm more attractive, but...
Okay, do you have a photography YouTube channel on your universe?
No. My YouTube channel is a conspiracy channel.
A conspiracy channel. That makes sense, actually. So, what are some of your favorite conspiracies that you like to discuss on this conspiracy YouTube channel of yours?
Well, I'm proud to say that I am the founder of the Spherical Earth Society.
Oh, yes. Spherical Earth theory. Yes. Yes, the theory where the Earth is a sphere and it rotates around the sun 365 days a year.
Yes, that's it. You're a believer. There might be hope for you yet.
All right, let's get to it. Okay, I'm not going to go into the technical, all the hibbity-hoo, the jargon, so to speak, of this lens. I'm just going to give my personal experiences with it after having it for 6 months or so, and whether I think it's a good lens for the money. I do think it's a good lens for the money. I purchased this on the Canon refurbished website for $379. And at that price, I think it's an absolute steal. I don't think that there's anything even comparable to it. Now retail, it retails for $649, which is still it's still reasonable, but at that price point, I'm not 100% sure I love it as much as if you can get it refurbished at $379. Because I also used to own the Sigma 150 to 600 lens, which had the 6.3 aperture, and even with the focus pulsing issue on the mirrorless body, such as the R6, the R7. Now, granted, I never used that lens on the R7, so I can't really say how good it is on that. But on my R6 and R6 II, yes, I did get focus pulsing issues, but I still managed to take good photos with the lens, and I'd still, at the end of the day, I still feel like that lens is a little better than this one. I feel like the images were a lot sharper. The bokeh was nicer on that lens. I mean, I can show some of the photos that I took. Obviously, maybe I'll put them on the screen while I'm talking. That way you guys don't have to look at my bearded mug haul video. Anyway, I still like this lens though. This lens is pros for this lens compared to that lens though is that lens was super bulky and kind of heavy. It was hard to fit it in a bag. This one I could fit it in even a little bag like this. I could fit this in here with the camera body and bring this with me, and I wouldn't even have to bring a bag bigger than that, which is great if you like to travel light, you know, like I do. I don't bring a ton of stuff with me unless I'm shooting a wedding, because it's just I like to travel as light as possible. This is take this. It does not come with a lens cap. I had to purchase this. It was like $15 on Amazon. I do recommend that though, because I always like to use lens caps on my lenses. But anyway, pros about this lens though, obviously, like I've said before, this lens is super light. Honestly, if I wanted to, if I was super into cargo pants, I could just put this right in my pocket.
Is that an RF 100 to 400 in your pocket, or are you just happy to see me?
This has a locking button, which the 100 to 500 does not have. The 100 to 500 has a tightness ring, which you can adjust the tightness of the lens so you don't get that focus creep, kind of, that'll droop down like that. But I don't ever have an issue with that, to be fair. With the Sigma one, I did actually have that issue a lot, but these two lenses are relatively light, so to speak. So especially the 100 to 400. Does this lens have its limitations? Yes, it does. Personally, at f8, it's not great in low light. And if you're shooting with a Canon R7 like I do, once you start to push that ISO above 800 to 1200, you're gonna get like a lot of noise in your photos. So unless you're proficient at using like Lightroom denoise or another denoise software, that's something you're gonna really want to factor in. So if you're doing like a lot of early morning photography with this lens where it's very low light, it's gonna struggle quite a bit, or a lot of photos at dusk. Now I have taken photos with this right before sunset and like ISO 6400, 3200, and I've still cleaned them up. I'll show them on screen right now. One here of like a snowy egret. It was like right before sunset, and I think this was shot at like ISO 6400. But I was still able to clean it up enough in Lightroom where I actually did like how the image turned out. And like I think the image quality on this lens is really good for what it is. It's not as good as the 100 to 500. But obviously this lens is, you could buy 4 of these lenses, almost 5 of these lenses, as opposed to what you're spending on one lens with the 100 to 500. So I think the thing with this lens that I've noticed compared to the 100 to 500 is the closer, now obviously this is wildlife photography, we always want to get as close to the subject as possible. That's how you're going to get the best photos. Now I shot this, I brought this lens with me to a zoo to try it out the first time, just because I knew that there was going to be animals there and I was going to be able to get as close as I could. And 100 to 400 on the R7 was probably even overkill. But I brought it anyway because I just wanted to test it out. So, and I was really happy with the images I got. Some of my favorite images, this photo of the flamingo that's in my intro, a few other photos here of this sloth, and some other stuff that I taken at that day at the zoo. But I was able to get really close, and I was actually really surprised with the sharpness I got from those photos. Now granted, some of those I did have to use denoise software as well, but other than that, I was still happy with the images that the results that I got from this lens, taking those photos at the zoo. Now, where this lens struggles in comparison to the 100 to 500 lens is when you have to crop it. Now, I want to show an image on the screen here of a short-eared owl that I took with this lens. It was early morning, like right before the sun was coming up, so it was quite dark. The owl was in flight. I was really struggling because I was at f8. I was really struggling. I was at f8, so I was trying to keep the shutter speed high enough where I could still catch the owl in flight and not have too much motion blur, yet still keep my ISO at a reasonable level. Unfortunately, this lens just really struggled with that photo. And even though I was happy that I got a short-eared owl, wasn't my favorite photos, and I wish that I had something a little better, or I could have gotten a little bit closer to the owl. Unfortunately, I could not get any closer to the owl at that point, and the light was just a little too dark. So I think if I had this on the R7, it would have given me about the equivalent of, would have had the extra 100 millimeters reach. Obviously, also could have done you know, the 7.1 shot a little bit light, a little bit more light in there. But also where I think it really would have improved the image is that I could have cropped in a lot more, and the image resolving power of this lens compared to this lens is just it's just much better in terms of what I've noticed. I can crop in a lot more using this lens and not lose as much detail on the images whereas this one, once you start to crop in, like if I cropped in that owl photo, I cropped in right around 100%, and yeah, it was just too noisy, too mushy. It kind of just looked a little bit too muddy for me. I mean, I still was happy that I got the owl, because you don't see an owl every day. Not where I'm at. There's not a lot of, there's short-eared owls, but they're really hard to, you know, come across, let's say. So I know some places in other countries, I see videos where, you know, people know where the short-eared owls are going to be, and they show up and the short-eared owls are going to be there, and they take photos of them. Here, I've never seen a short-eared owl except for that one time when I was out, you know, so anyway. All right. So like I said, I think this lens is a good value for what it is. If you can get this lens like I said, on the Canon website refurbished like I did, I think the value, you really just buy it immediately. If you see it for $379 on Canon's website, just immediately buy it, because like I said, even though I have this lens, if I was going somewhere and I wanted to bring, like on a trip, and I didn't want to bring too many lenses with me, I would definitely probably bring this, even though this is a better lens.
Bruh.
Just because, I guess it really would depend. Like if I'm going on an African safari or something, I'm obviously going to bring this. But if I'm just going to go, like, you know, and I want to take some landscape photos with a 100-400 lens, I'm probably going to bring this, because it's just so light, and if I'm going to be hiking on a mountain or something like that, this is just going to be serviceable enough for what I need for that type of trip. All right, so I put some photos on the screen that I've taken with this lens. Like I said, I'm pretty happy with the results. Like I said, sometimes you just got to know the limitations of the lens. That owl photo, it just was not light enough for this lens at f8. Just did not let enough light in. I was not close enough to my subject. So, but if you can get close enough to your subject, and you know, you have enough light, this lens is great, especially for the price. The weight, it's perfect. All right, so that's going to be it for the comparison in the office. I'm just going to go to my backyard, and we're going to take a few photos with each of these lenses. Then I'm going to come back, and then we're going to you know, just kind of compare them on the screen. I have a bird feeder in the back, so I get tons of birds. So we're going to go in the back with both of these, try to take similar shots, and then compare. I'll do 100% crop and just see if maybe we can see any differences, and then give my final thoughts back in the comfort of my very own home. No wildlife vlog this week, just a boring review here on the channel. I apologize, but you know, I figured I'd try something different, and I just didn't have time to get out this week, unfortunately. So, but we're gonna go to the backyard and meet me there.
A few moments later.
Okay, so I came out back by the bird feeder, trying to get some comparison photos of the birds. Unfortunately, the birds just were not showing up. Some were showing up, but it was hard to really get the same birds in the same location. So I saw a little squirrel who was kind of hanging around. So I grabbed a handful of bird feed and just threw it on the ground, and then kind of hung out by my door, and then switched lenses between the RF 100 to 400 and the RF 100 to 500. Took some video with each lens and captured some photos with each lens. Figured that would be easier to make a comparison because he was in the same spot. And so yeah, I think we're just going to use that. We'll show some of the other photos I took too, as well, of the birds. But we're going to go back to the computer and look at those and see if we can spot the differences between the photo and video of this little squirrel. Okay, so we're back at the computer and we're going to look at a few of the photos that I took outside. Like I said, there was some birds by my feeder, but unfortunately I couldn't get a lot of the same birds with the different lenses. So we do have a couple squirrel photos and video at the end here. We'll try to do some comparisons here. So these first few photos, they're going to be with the RF 100 to 400 lens. On this photo I'm at ISO 1250. I'm keeping it at about 1/400th of a second, shooting at f8 with both of the lenses just for a fairer comparison, since the 100 to 400 only goes to f8. So we have a downy woodpecker here. These first few shots, I did run these through the Lightroom denoise software as well, so they're not quite as noisy as they were originally because ISO is still pretty high. So got a little house finch here. Nothing too amazing with these photos, just taking some photos, try to just see the comparison between the two lenses. Now this one was taken with the 100 to 500 at ISO 1600, f8 still, and I still kept the shutter speed the same at 1/400th of a second. Some nice photos here of a tufted titmouse. If we zoom in to 100% here, really like the sharpness on the feathers here. Everything looks great. Eye to me looks pretty sharp. Yeah, and the bokeh in the background, even though there's not too much separation from this branch here and these branches back here, still pleasant to look at, I think. Got another one here of him, got a few shots of him here, but I really like these photos. I think they came out pretty good. Like I said, I wasn't looking for anything amazing, I was just going into my backyard. So yeah, this one I need to brighten up a little bit. But yeah, I like the shot. You zoom in on him. Eyes really sharp. There's a little bit of something on his beak there. But yeah, I mean, there's noise back here, but nothing too bad. I can live with it. But yeah, really like that. Let's see. Here's a house finch. Same as we took. Now this one's for with the 100 to 500. Nice detail there, nice sharpness in the eye, feathers, everything looks good. And then we're going to go to a house finch shot we took with the 100 to 400. Now there's still sharpness here, and you know, the feather detail is okay, but like I was saying earlier, once you start to zoom in to 100%, the 100 to 500 just does a much better job, I think, in resolving the image in terms of keeping the sharpness. So, like I said, but it's a more expensive lens, so you do have your drawbacks. But this one was also taken with the 100 to 500. This is a song sparrow. Yeah, so I mean, the 100 to 500, definitely you can tell from these photos the separation here. The bokeh looks much better, even at f8, as opposed to the f8 on the 100 to 400. You're also getting an extra 100 millimeters, which is about 200 millimeter equivalent on the R7, so you are getting a little bit more compression there, so that's going to cause a little bit more bokeh in the background as well. And let's see, we also have last photos of this squirrel. So this one was taken with the 100-500. I'm at ISO 2000 now, so getting really high up there with the ISO. Still kept my shutter speed at 1/400th. I just didn't want to go below that because he was kind of bouncing around a little bit. So, but got some nice clean background back here. And this one was with the 100-400. Also not a bad photo, but let's zoom into 100% here. So this is where I started to notice it. You see his ear right here is kind of, I don't know, it just does not look as sharp as when I go to this photo. His ear is just a little sharper to me. Not as much fall off in the hands either. If we go back to this one. Hands over here just a little bit softer, I think, overall. So, I mean, really, like I said, I'm gonna play a video here too real quick. I just took of the squirrels. Then I'll do a side-by-side photo or video of them as well. Like I said, the one video I shot with the 100-400, there is like a little haze over here, but that's not from the lens. I was actually accidentally shooting in front of like a little bush, so there's kind of a little hazy green on that side. But still, overall, I think the 100-500 obviously is a better lens, but for the price, like I said before, the 100-400 definitely a value, especially if you can get it at that price point of $379. Like I got it on the Canon refurbished website. You got to keep checking for that though, because normally when it's on refurbished, it's about $520 or so, which is still better than the $649. But yeah, so if you're looking for a more professional level lens and you will have the money and you can afford it, I would definitely recommend the 100-500. But if you want something lighter and that can still give you good results, I'd be more than happy with the 100-400 if that was all I could afford. So you can definitely get good photos with it. Just be aware that the more you crop in, the resolving power on the lens is just not going to be as good as it is on the 100-500. So, all right, we're going to go back to the office and I'll wrap things up. Okay, so through the power of cinema, we are back, and we shot some photos with both of these lenses, and we showed them up on screen there. And ultimately, I think really it just depends on the how much money you are willing to spend. And you know, this lens, in terms of weight, is about 1.5 pounds more than this lens, but personally, if you you know, are an older person like me, and you don't like to carry heavy things, and you don't want to spend the money, this lens is a great lens for the value. Obviously, if you're a person who wants a little bit more professional quality in your images, a little bit sharper, definitely go with this lens. I mean, that's the biggest drawback with this lens, is the price. I think it's just a little bit too expensive for what it does. I still love the lens. I don't, you know, I don't regret the purchase so much, but I feel like I mean, even on sale, it's still gonna, after tax, it's still gonna cost you quite a bit of money. But I mean, there are used copies, and you always got to look on Canon's website. Sometimes they'll have a refurbished sale, like Black Friday last year, they had this on sale for less than $2,000. For at that price, it's actually really, I know that sounds like a lot if you're not a photographer, but that's actually really reasonable for this lens, for the image quality that you get out of it. Any L lens for that price is actually really good. So I think, you know, I think this lens is good. It's really close in terms of, you know, just really depends on how close you can get to your subject. If you can get really close and really fill the frame as much as possible where you don't have to crop in a ton, you're going to get some really nice images with this lens, and you're not going to have to, you know, have a lot of weight and a lot of other gear in your backpack, especially if you want to carry like 2 or 3 other lenses with you and you want to make room. This is small enough where you can put, like, you know, a lot more stuff in your backpack. This is going to take up a little bit more space, going to be a little heavier. Ultimately, at the end of the day, the choice is up to you guys. I'm not going to tell you guys what to buy and how to spend your money, because I never tell anyone how to spend their money. I've certainly wasted a ton of money on things, and I don't appreciate when people tell me that I'm wasting my money, even though I probably am. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the review this week. I figured I'd try something different. I'm probably not the best reviewer in the world, and I'm not going to pretend to be.
Obviously.
But hope you guys enjoyed it. Hopefully next week we can go out. This week things just happened. Could not make it out into the field. So anyway, hope you had fun, guys, and thanks for tuning in. Until next time, I'll see you when I see you. Take care.